Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here this afternoon. So many important things are happening and being discussed today. It's a day about women, not only here, but across all facets of industry, of individuals, and ladies around the world. So we have to always recognize what it is we can do, what it is we can do better, perhaps how we can use that to educate those who can always assist with any kind of issue or challenge we're having. It's a privilege for me always to be able to speak about the Utah Food Bank. I'm very passionate about who we are and what we do. Many years ago, I would have loved to have had a pantry or the opportunity to get help in the community I lived in. There wasn't a battered women's shelter, and there wasn't a pantry. I had a 5-year-old, and I was pregnant with my son, and life was incredibly challenging for me. And I wouldn't have missed that opportunity for the world, believe it or not. From those opportunities and scenarios, I've learned to be able to have compassion for those who are experiencing the challenges that hunger can bring. What I'd like to do today is talk to you a little bit about the Utah Food Bank, talk about our opportunity that we have to serve the state of Utah, and then talk about some things that possibly you as individuals can do as well. The Utah Food Bank started in 1904. It's been around a long time. And I remind my staff, I wasn't an original hire, I was in the second wave, probably 1910. We joke all the time about the age of the food bank, but it's fun to recognize that we've been doing what we do in a variety of ways to different audiences for a very long time. And from that, we've learned a lot. The challenge we have now is the audience has changed. The demand is changing. We need to change with that. The mission of the Utah Food Bank is very simple. We fight hunger statewide. It's simple with 3 words, but it's a very, very dedicated message. We collect food, we collect time, and we collect money. We distribute food statewide. We're an affiliate of Feeding America. Feeding America is the overarching umbrella for food banks across the country. There are 200 of us that join that organization. We learn from each other, from our peers, food bank sizes and similarities. Many things we can adapt to, many things we create and share. But Feeding America gives us the opportunity for us here locally to be the affiliate of the state of Utah. So that gives us the responsibility to serve all 29 counties. And as we speak through that challenge, it isn't easy. If you look at our state geographically, it's not an easy state to travel through a lot of times. It's like a can of green beans that you put out on the porch for a food drive. They go through a lot to get to a family in San Juan County. Last year, the Utah Food Bank distributed over 39 million pounds throughout the state. It's over 32 million meals. And as you think about that, it's a staggering number. We're asked all the time, why is this happening? Why are there hungry folks in Utah? Why isn't this problem being addressed? That same question has been asked for over 100 years. For us here locally, we depend on the services of many partner agencies. And what we can do best for all of those agencies is our buying power. For every dollar that comes to the Utah Food Bank, we turn that into $7.48 for the goods and services. And we do that by being able to buy in very large volume. We do that by having the opportunity to contract with grocers and producers of food and sometimes have a lot of that donated. So we stretch that money so that we can have better buying power than the public. So money sometimes is better than food. Food gives us variety. One of the things that we were really proud of is that we find creative ways to get that distributed across the state of Utah. We use direct services to distribute a lot of food and a lot of meals. Excuse me. One of our programs is our Kids Cafe. We prepare a hot meal. It's served at dinner time. It's served at a school or a public location where a child is involved in an after-school program with an educational component. So basically, we supply dinner. And sometimes that's the only dinner these kids would have. Last year, our commercial kitchen prepared over 405,000 meals we distributed to children's dinner. A lot of these kids are in public libraries. Parents are using public libraries in lieu of daycare. After school is over, the child goes to the library. They're safe, they're warm, they're inside. They stay there until the library closes, and they go home. One of the questions the library posed was, how can we help these kids? So we started our dinner program for those children, and we're currently serving in 11 public libraries across the state of Utah. Another service we have is our backpack program. We fill backpacks with 12 to 15 items of food. They're given to select children on a Friday afternoon, and those kids are referred to us by usually a counselor or the principal. We provide product for a child to take home that we know on a weekend. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't eat again until Monday. We distributed over 55,000 bags last year. It's a lot of kids who have scenarios on their weekends that need to be addressed. Another one of our services is our direct food box. We're able to reach out to homes for those who are over 60 or disabled. They're living below the poverty level. We provide to them once a month enough food to help them in a 7 to 10 day window. These food boxes are delivered by volunteers. A volunteer commits to a 6-month scenario where they go to the same house on the same day every month and get to know that person. It's a valuable service. And we distributed over 43,000 of those boxes last year. One of our biggest and most exciting programs is our mobile school pantry program. This is where we partner with a local elementary or junior high school. Once a month on a set date, we drive onto the playground of that school. With the help of volunteers from a corporate sponsor, we set up tables and we distribute grocery products to the kids attending that school and their parents. This is not enough food for a month, but it certainly is enough food to get them through with several meals with all the staples. Sometimes it's laundry detergent, sometimes it's diapers. It's everything that you and I need in our home, so do those families. So we work diligently to make that happen. Currently serving 67 schools throughout the state. We're in Utah, Davis, we're in Weber County, we're in Iron County, we're in Monticello, the San Juan area, we're in Washington County. We're serving schools right here around where I'm seated today. Kids here in this area are being assisted by that program as well. We served 234,000 people last year, and 130,000 of those were children under 18. Grocery Rescue is a program that we were able to assist to help families. Monday through Saturday, we have 256 grocery stores the trucks from the Utah Food Bank travel to. Pick up product from the docks that the stores have pulled from the shelves that are either close to expire or have a short shelf life. Pick up those products and don't bring them to the food bank, but we take them directly to pantries in the neighborhoods where those stores are located. And that product ends up at a family on a dinner table, usually that same day. Each month we receive over 1 million pounds. This year our projection is to collect 17 million pounds of food. Get that to families in need that otherwise would have gone to the landfill. So Grocery Rescue is very aptly named for the service that we have for them. One of the issues that Utah Food Bank is always challenged with is transportation. We jokingly say we're not a transportation company, but in reality we are. We have a fleet of about 45 trucks. If we're driving around the state of Utah and we're serving all the folks in need, those trucks are on the go. We open the food bank at 4:30 in the morning and start our warehouse shift, and we work till 9:30 at night. Saturdays, we're slackers on Saturdays. We work 8 to 2. But ironically, it's a big need that has to be filled by a great staff. Last year, we took all the miles that our trucks drove. We added them up. If we divided it with an algorithm that we have fun with, it would have enabled us to drive around the equator 19 times. Our folks are on the go, and they're on the go continually. While direct services is great for things that we can get to children, there's ways for all of us as individuals to become involved. I mentioned earlier 3 things that we need to supply for you. We ask you to give food, give time, and give money. The challenge we have is how do we collect all those things and how do we distribute them effectively? As we look at the state of Utah, we know that Utah Food Bank can't get to all of these communities. So we utilize a partnership of 140 pantries across the state. We call them our partner agencies. It can be a small pantry. It could be an aggregate feeding site like the St. Vincent de Paul that feed the homeless. It can be the Ronald McDonald House that provides food for families who are staying there when their children are receiving medical assistance. 149 partner agencies have a different look and feel in all the communities. Some are large and very well staffed and stocked. Others are as small as a pantry and staffed by volunteers. The ironic part about this is it's a means to get food and to get product to each of the counties. We can watch the state of Utah just like almost clockwork and know immediately if there's a challenge with an economic issue. Coal mine closes in Carbon County. We see a spike for food that shows us the need is improved. If there are issues in the Uinta Basin, for example, when all of the job changes occurred with drilling, with oil jobs that were provided there, we saw an immediate spike in the need for that area. The ability that Utah Food Bank loves to have and loves to enjoy is that we can immediately, that very day if we have to, get product to those folks who are in need. The trucks that we have, we try to stay here locally. We learned a long time ago we're not long-haul drivers. So if you see a truck on the road that belongs to CR England or Walmart or provide transportation. Chances are they're not hauling for those organizations, but they're hauling for the Utah Food Bank. We have partnerships with those groups, and we know if we have a load of green beans in Minnesota, we can call Sierra England and ask if they have a trailer coming back to Salt Lake. If it's empty and they pick up that product and bring it to us. Sometimes we pay a minimal amount for fuel. They never charge us for labor. Through those partnerships, we're continuing to bring product into the state of Utah and get it to the folks in need. A rule of thumb for the Utah Food Bank, if it isn't something I would send or serve to my family, I won't give it to another family. So we have to carefully judge, look, display, and understand not only the quantity of food you receive, but the quality. If it's a blueberry or a strawberry, for example, the shelf life is short. We have to be sure those are still good and they're able to get to families. We get questions all the time about food that's expired. Can we give you expired food? Yes, you can. People are shocked by that. But ironically, we follow the guidelines that are given to us by the federal government. We look at those cans, we look at the date. If you're a green bean in a can, you have about a 4-year shelf life. If you're a tomato, you probably have 2 years. You have the ability to judge and to know which food to pass on. Strict protocol on food handling. It's very important that health and safety is passed on to all those who need it. If we happen to have a product that we can't use, we have contracts with pig farmers. Our food goes to those farms. Those animals use that food. Those animals are raised and then come back to the food bank. What we're hoping to be able to do is someday say we don't have to do these processes. We don't have to go through all this because there won't be any more hungry folks. But we know that isn't true. One of the biggest challenges we have here are our children. Right now, if you were to visit the Vivint Center and look at the seating in that arena, we could fill that facility 8 times with the hungry children just. Surprisingly enough, Utah County, right here where we are today, is one of the highest rated counties for underserved. These children that need help are called food insecure. It means they don't know where their next meal will come from. To me, I find that appalling. There is no reason for a child to go to bed hungry at night in this day and age. But we have to depend on all of us to be able to help. One of the things that we like to do is partner with organizations who can come out into the state of Utah, have a reputation, and help us with this. An example is that of the Boy Scouts of America. For 32 years, once a year in March, we host a food drive that happens across the state of Utah. It's coming up next Saturday. We utilize Scout troops and Scouts of a variety of ages. This year, the Cub Scouts will be placing a reminder on your front door. Next Saturday, the older Scouts will come to your home at 9 a.m. and pick up a bag of product that you put on your porch. Now, ironically, a lot of people will see this opportunity to use a bag or box they have in their home and fill it with product from their pantry. And for us at home, particularly moms, that's one of the best ways to help us. You know what your family will enjoy. You know what your family will eat. That variety of food is exactly what other families need to have. So when this opportunity comes up next week to help the Scouts, we would ask you to be diligent in remembering that. Go to your pantry, see what you can share, and be sure that it's on your porch by 9 o'clock. In May, we do the same thing with the letter carriers. Working through the National Association of Letter Carriers Union. In May, across the nation, a food drive will take place. The same kind of opportunity will present itself for all of you. There'll be a plastic bag put in your post office box or your mailbox. During the week prior to the date, you'll have the opportunity to shop. If you don't have product at home, take the kids to the store and let them pick out the items that they would like for themselves. Put them in that bag, put them out on the porch. What a great opportunity to teach your children these lifelong lessons of compassion, of understanding. One of the biggest challenges with hunger is I can't look at you and see if you're hungry. I can't look at you and know if you had dinner last night. One of the best ways for us to see that, one of the best gauges we have are our school teachers. They can see the change in a child. They can see the behavioral issues. They can see if the child is struggling to learn. The first question teachers need to ask these kids when a problem comes up is, have you eaten today? Through the schools throughout the state of Utah, we're working so hard to get pantries in these schools, so there's always something. If a child has to go to a counselor's office or a principal's office, they can get cereal or a breakfast bar or a quick meal that will allow them to get through the morning until they have their lunch. As you buy those kinds of products, and you would have them for your kids on the pantry, those are exactly the kinds of things I would ask you to duplicate. Buy them for the upcoming food drives, and then put those out on the porch as well. Always remembering, if your kids love that item or that product or that special treat, those other families will as well. As we come into the summer months, the challenges for the Utah Food Bank begin to increase. A lot of these children that I'm referring to, and there's 193,000 of them, participate in your schools, in your neighborhoods, in the free or reduced breakfast or lunch program. So these kids are getting 2 meals a day. If they're fortunate enough to be where we have our kids' cafe, they'll get dinner as well. That's great for kids as we go through the school year. But when the school year ends the end of May or the 1st of June, a lot of these children now are challenged how to have a meal or how to eat, or at least eat regularly, until school starts again in September. So I would ask you, as moms with kids of your own, give thought to the summer months. What can you do to help throughout the course of the summer? Can your kids host a food drive? Instead of a birthday party, can you take your kids to the local pantry or to the food bank? Let them bring a group of friends. Let them all learn more about hunger and who they're helping. I would bet if you were to ask some of the kids in your household, do they know kids at school who are challenged with hunger? They probably do. Is it embarrassing? Is it a challenge for the families? Absolutely. They can be so important when we're helping those who are struggling. As you visit the pantries throughout the state of Utah, you'll see that most of these pantries have set up what we call client choice. You go through the shelves of the pantry just like you would a grocery store. You select the items your family would eat. You know what your kids enjoy. You take it home and you prepare it. So as you donate food, remember, variety is absolutely crucial. If you're interested in the opportunity where you can help, whether that's you, a youth group that you're involved with, your family, your kids, you want to learn more and do more for the issues of hunger, one of the most important things I ask of you is volunteerism. It's so important that you give of your time. When the recession turned in 2010 and things started to change here in the state of Utah, many of the folks who were our donors became our recipients. Hunger and issues of hunger can happen to any of us. It just takes one disaster, whether it's a medical bill or a transition in the car goes out or whatever the issue might be. People living paycheck to paycheck always seem to go through their budget buying and paying for things first, as they should, but food is usually the last. So families at any time, anywhere can be at need. As you donate and work with your local pantry or the food bank, please remember that it isn't always as it seems. You might see someone pull up to the pantry in a very nice car, and the question you might ask is, why are they coming for food? We don't know but what that car is ready to be repossessed. We don't know if they borrowed that car from someone else so they could get there to get food. Sometimes in these situations, we find ourselves being judgmental, and I would ask you to please refrain from that. Don't look at the circumstance around them as material, but look at the circumstance of their life. Remember that, again, this can happen to you. It certainly happened to me. We need to be sure that we're there to help. If you know someone who's challenged with hunger, who has an issue with hunger and doesn't know where to go, there's a very easy solution that serves as a first step for them. There's a phone number that's toll-free. It's 211, just like you would call 411 or 911. But 211 has the ability to screen calls that come into their office simply by utilizing a zip code. If the person calling in will give the person on the phone the zip code of where they live, they can get a list of services. And that might be food, it might be help with medical, it might be help with rent. There's a variety of services that people can learn about by using 211. The call is free of charge. The services that they will get for the most part will be free of charge. But an important thing to remember if you want to volunteer, if you call that same number and use your zip code, they can direct you to a pantry in your community. Well, we love to have volunteers at the food bank, and last year we had 83,000 hours of volunteer time donated to the Utah Food Bank. If I equated that out to additional staff, we'd have to hire 40 full-time people. We can't do that with the budget we operate on. So volunteering at any time, at any amount of time, at any location is crucial. 83,000 hours is a huge number, and that can be done, and it is done with a combination of people coming in all sorts of different sizes, individuals, families, groups, corporations, church groups, scouts, goes on and on. But one individual can make a difference to one family. At the Utah Food Bank, we ask people to come in and commit to a 90-minute shift. We have a quick orientation. We talk to you about the task you'll be doing. The project is already set up. Our staff will take you into the specific room and give you instructions. And the 90 minutes goes by very, very quickly. Whether you're building food boxes for seniors or backpacks for the kids, or helping us to do our repack for some of the volume items that we buy in large quantities, all of those things that you touch on that day will pass through our system and will be on a dinner table for someone in the state of Utah. Some of the things that we like to remind people of is a health and nutrition issue. Not too many summers ago, we had a real tough time at the Utah Food Bank because we were running out of food. And all we had to deliver that August was Pepsi and top ramen. But all the pantries across the state got some Pepsi and some top ramen. So we received some real challenging calls from people saying, why are you distributing this kind of food? Well, we're an emergency food assistance program. What comes in goes out, and everybody gets part of what we have. We put out the call for help and people rallied. Utah is such a giving culture and a great state to be in. We were able to change that and add variety over the course of the next few days and weeks. But emergency food assistance is a term that's really a challenge. We never know for sure if we're going to get a load of peanut butter, if we're going to get a load of eggs, or if we're going to get a load of antifreeze. All the items that come to your home come to us. We can't always call it food, but we have to do our best to distribute it. Some of the challenges we're hearing about now are people on special diets, gluten-free, diabetes, high blood pressure. We ask for things that come to you in the list of suggestions for food to be low sodium, to be low in sugar. We do the best that we possibly can to get people to give us things that are nutritious. But then people will say, well, why are you distributing cookies? Or why is a birthday cake going to a pantry through Grocery Rescue? The flip side of that is, what a blessing for a mother who has a child at home having a birthday and she couldn't afford a birthday cake. A birthday in the pantry that day, be able to take home and have her child have a birthday cake, it's just as much to her as it does to any of us that prepare for our children as well. So as you go through and participate, please recognize we have some limitations as well. So nutrition is a big deal. We understand it. We're trying to find ways to get more produce, more things that are important to families that are expensive. The milks, the cheeses, the meats, the things that cut into your budget. Those perishable things we can find and we can distribute. It's the non-perishable items that we need from you. As we look across the state of Utah, we see our culture is changing in many ways. The refugee population in the state of Utah is nothing like it was 10 years ago. We're bringing new families and new friends into our state, and we're having to prepare not only food and product to give them, but lessons and education to help them. I received a call one day from a gentleman asking me for zebra meat. My first response was it was one of my friends playing a trick, and I was very careful not to say what I wanted to say. And after a few more sentences, I learned he was absolutely sincere in his request. I can't imagine going to a foreign country, having to change my language, my habits, my culture, having food given to me that I wouldn't know how to prepare. You give a family a roast and they expect to be able to take care of that in the open pit that some people are putting in the apartment floor and building fires. We have people think the coil in the bottom of the oven is the fire they should use to lay the roast on. Education has to come with what we do. So we try really hard to be sure we distribute the monies that come to us through donations. For every dollar that comes, 95 cents of that goes directly to programming, and only 5 cents of the dollar goes to administration fees. So if you were to choose to donate to us using a financial contribution, know that your money is being well spent. Know that we're transparent and you can see online all the programs that we utilize funds for. You can learn more about the Utah Food Bank at utahfoodbank.org. It talks about all the ways that you can help. It talks about all the locations throughout the state where pantries are. And it gives you some ideas of things that you can do. In addition to being able to volunteer as adults, we ask you to please educate your children. Help them to understand. We live in a very giving culture, and we're taught from a very young age how important it is to have compassion and how important it is for us to be able to be sure that we give back to the entities that we help. But as children grow up, they learn so much by example. They learn from you, the parent. They learn from you, the family. They learn from their friends. Teach your kids to be one of those in the group of kids. Let them be that leader. Let them suggest those kids do something to help kids who are less fortunate. In all of the pantries across the state, there are individual entities, and they have different hours. They have different days, most run by volunteers. If you're a community where you're not able to come to the food bank to volunteer your time, check with those local pantries. See what their schedules are. Try to adapt to the needs that they have. Perhaps ask them if they have a special holiday program. Are there things that you and the kids can start to do now that perhaps you can have a collection and take to them at some important time throughout the course of the year? We only ask for creativity. We ask for a little dedication. We ask for a lot of compassion. We ask for your knowledge. As moms, you know what kids like. You know what kids eat. You know what kids won't eat. I raise my kids with a lot of peanut butter and macaroni and cheese. Oh, and by the way, macaroni and cheese is the first and number one requested item at the Utah Food Bank. So as you reach up on your shelf and take off that box of mac and cheese to put in the bag for the scout drive, know that you've made a family happy. But also know the canned goods are just as important. As we travel into San Juan County, we see homes that don't have power. Perhaps they're on a generator. We don't have water that's drawing from the tank in the back of their truck. You know that some of the things we would distribute in the Salt Lake Valley or in Utah Valley are very different in San Juan. So we leave it up to you who are willing to donate product to recognize how diverse and how varied you can be. Know that we'll find a home for your donation. And we have had some interesting things come to us. We're somewhat challenged when we get chocolate-covered crickets or beef-flavored bologna and that looks like bologna and turns out to be bubble gum. We've had some challenges over the years. We just ask you to keep in mind. Volunteerism would be the first thing we would ask you to do. Whether it's at a pantry, the food bank, or your neighborhood or the school, you can help anyone. Food is the next thing we'd ask you to do in participating in these upcoming food drives that you'll hear about. Be sure your bag is out on the porch or by your mailbox so you can help. Money is also an issue that is probably for us the easiest because we can use that money in very, very many ways. And again, remember, our buying power is so large and so broad. I can buy tuna fish at my price, but you can go on utahfoodbank.org or our virtual food drive. Tell me that you want your donation to be restricted to buy tuna fish or peanut butter, whatever the item is that you choose. Know that I'll use your money and my buying power. Between the two of us, we'll have much more product coming into the warehouse. So we give you those options. Remember food, time, and money. Remember the compassion we ask you to have. Education and awareness are our two most important tools. Help us educate your children. Help us extend our awareness. Help people understand that Utah Food Bank is really challenged right now as our governor talks about our low unemployment rate, the great jobs coming into the state of Utah. All the things that are so great for our state are the things creating challenges. Many of our families can't qualify for those jobs. Many are working 2 and 3 part-time jobs. We would ask you to remember with compassion that it's during the course of the year that it's needed, the summertime the most. We love the holiday giving. We understand how people enjoy to give during the holiday season. But remember us around the 4th of July. Please utilize that 211 number and call that number. Find an area in your community where you can volunteer, where you can take folks, whether it's your family again, or kids or your youth groups. Figure out a way that you can join us in the fight against hunger. On behalf of the Utah Food Bank and the audience we serve, I'd love to thank you in advance, knowing that you'll be able to take information from today's presentation, learn from it, utilize it, incorporate it into what you'll do in the future, and know that you will make an incredible difference in the lives of many, many people in the state of Utah. Thank you for your time. Have a great afternoon.